Okay, we're live.
Welcome to the fucking
Welcome to the Monkey
show,
Bar.
everyone. Monkey
What?
Bar. Oh my god.
Yeah, that thing. That thing that we do every week. Except when one of us isn't available. But we're available both now today for our 84th episode. Welcome. And what do you want to? I don't know. What do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about The Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah,
I want
let's
to beat that like a golf club.
let's jump into it. The subject of the thumbnail that we have right now. Yeah, it's been out for a week by now.
Yeah, is the review embargoes up?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, people have reviewed it already, so we're free to talk about it. It's one of these games / media things that the critics supposedly love, but the fans just hate. You look at the Metacritic; it's right now it's 95% critic approval, 4.2% on the fan side, or the public consensus. I've heard people say, it's a review bombing thing. It's like, yeah, I think that's probably the case because I'm kind of conflicted. It's like, it seems like it's 50-50 where like half the fans actually did play it and hated it. The other half just heard reviews from their favorite YouTubers who shit all over it and were like, oh, I didn't play it, but I heard that's bad. So I don't know.
I didn't play it, but for context, I've seen scenes and clips of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. And I was saying before we started that Video Game Donkey gave a good review of it. He gave it a 4 out of 5, and I mean, I was starting to wonder like if it's sort of a knee-jerk thing or like how much of it was based on him, because he made a video before this like a month ago, like complaining about like the plot getting spoiled for him. So I'm wondering if that's like in like a retaliation thing from him, just being like, "Oh, I'm gonna like this game anyway," despite I don't know if I don't know if he really seems like the kind of guy to do that, but I was just keeping that in mind. But I mean, from like either way, in my personal opinion, I'm not gonna play this thing. I'm not gonna pay $60 to play this crap. I'm
I
going
wouldn't
to
even call it crap. I would just call it pure mediocrity.
yeah, it's I'm going the James Rolfe Ghostbusters 2016 route and saying no gameplay, no review, I refuse. It's different reasons though, because James Rolfe, I think he was more justified because it's like I think he came from a place where he's like, I'm a big fan of this game, big fan of this movie, and this remake seems to be hitting all the beats of the original, and I'm gonna hate this going in, so I'm just not gonna bother with it. For me, it's like I'm from what I've heard of this game, Last of Us 2. From what I've heard of it, it sounds like I'm not gonna like it, and I'm just not gonna play it, or at least I'm not gonna pay $60 to play it. If somebody wants to send it to me for free, then I will. Or if you want to like donate to our Patreon, then if you pay me $60 on Patreon, then I just might buy it and play it.
I just want to say where I stand. I like The Last of Us. I want to say I'm in that camp. The Last of Us 2 is a failure. It just makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, I played the Left Behind DLC for Last of Us 1, and I was like, when I was done with that, I'm like, God, that was not good. And it sounds like Last of Us 2 is going to be more of that not good feeling that I got after playing the Left Behind. So I'm really I just want to avoid it. I want to not play it. And I'm really not interested in it at all. I do like that the internet has banded together to make memes, just completely mock this thing. Have you seen the video that traces over the sex scene with Abby?
No.
That's a good one. I want to see if I can pull it up real quick because it's basically they just like people on I want to say it was 4chan's idea where it's like they take the whole like I think 10 or like 30-second long clip of that scene where it's like, and they just draw like Mario and Spyro, and every single frame they trace over like each pose, and it's like beautiful and horrifying to look at. I don't know where to find it. I think that whatever. But yeah, I don't think I can't remember the last time I saw the internet band together to just shit on something terrible like this. But yeah, it definitely warmed my heart a little bit.
Our cold, jaded hearts are warmed by the burning pile of cordyceps fungus that is The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how come it had... Like, I fucking hate that The Last of Us 2 has some of my favorite zombies of all time. I love the infected. I love the idea of cordyceps zombies.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I mean, the way I would have done a sequel, I mean, I think that this probably would get more people... This is probably a worse plot, but I like it better. Because I know that one of the big complaints over Last of Us 2 was, this whole zombie trope being tired and exhausted. Everybody's done like zombies to death. But what I would have done, and this is probably the I'm trying to think of like a movie series that's where like the first movie is grounded in reality, but the sequels keep getting crazier and crazier.
Mad Max,
Robocop. I think that I remember Robocop 3 being like just a big cartoon. So like this would be like the Robocop 3 of video game sequels. Is that my pitch would be is that Last of Us Part 2, where they come into contact with a zombie that's able to communicate like through, and it turns out that like all the zombies are suddenly being taken over by a hive mind, being controlled by like Patient Zero, and like the Patient Zero is like the grave mind from Halo, where it's basically become like its own species that's like now trying to assimilate, actively like cooperating with all zombies on Earth to like just absorb all knowledge and stuff. And all of a sudden, like both sides of like the conflicting sides in Last of Us, the Fireflies and the whatever, and the militia or whatever, they all have to band together to fight against this master like fungus zombie race.
The Master Mushroom.
Yeah, that's
Master Myconid.
Yeah, just make it like super campy and just go like in like the complete opposite direction. And
what I would do is have all of the fungus in one area coalesce into a giant Godzilla monster. Of course I would.
Yeah.
But have it be like a giant insect.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you have to craft a giant robot to fight them.
Or like have the two different cranes work in tandem.
Yeah, I mean it's a video game. Why not be stupid?
We can't have fun.
No, this is a super serious thing. This baby toy has to be super serious and make you think and provoke you.
Well, God, like, there's nothing wrong with having the game that makes you think and provokes. It's wrong. Yeah. That's the entire fucking purpose. Like Persona 4. I've been playing Persona 4, BC, and it's like, holy fuck, this game can hit you like out of nowhere, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, but that's an anime game, and anime is bad according to Sony.
The fuck?
Yeah, like I think that. Well, there's a video on my recommended saying that was like, I think it was like an interview or like a covert thing where they sort of like find out why Sony hates anime. I didn't watch it because I just didn't really find it that interesting, but I have no problem believing that Sony actively wants to, stop making stop distributing anime games. They've certainly, like, have you seen the box art of it was this fighting game, I think it was Blaze Blue, or it was I don't think it was that, or it was like a recent game where you have like this, like one of the main protagonists is this girl in bikini armor, and like on every console except for Sony, they have the bikini girl front and center, but she's like pushed to the background of the characters, and only in the PS4 version.
Or like glare and Devil May Cry 5.
Oh yeah, like the lens flare in Devil May Cry 5, the censoring lady's butt, and it's like, yeah, it's like I hate it. I just I don't know. I hate censorship of all kinds, and with Sony, it's like they're censoring like the most like just milquetoast stuff. It's not even like these. It's not even like fully naked anime characters, and it's like it's not because of nudity, because of that one scene that we just mentioned. It's like a fully nude sex scene in Last of Us 2. So yeah, it's
Last of Us 2 is the golden child. They do it on our own.
Well, yeah, Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Can you say that again? You're breaking up.
It's the golden child. They do no wrong. I bet you it's going to be the next heavy rain. They're all going to be fucking it on for the next couple of weeks.
I still can't. You're really, really weak signal.
Do you remember when Heavy Rain first came out and everyone was just sucking it off?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And just I can't wait till all of a sudden the fires turn onto The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if I'd call. I don't know if it's too early to call Neil Druckmann the new David Cage.
No, but this is the new Heavy Rain by far.
Right. Yeah, I would go further and say this is the new Beyond Two Souls.
Oh, I like Beyond Two Souls. You take that back.
Really?
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
It's like Willem Dafoe.
I like the video of Super Best Friends play. There was like an animated clip of them saying, like, comparing it to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and just saying Jodie is a JoJo and Aiden is her stand.
Okay, that makes it even better now. I thought you were trying to tell me it sucked.
Yeah, but they're the
no. I will bitch every other David Cage game. But Beyond Two Souls gets a pass.
I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't know.
It's okay.
I've heard people say it's the worst plot of any David Cage game.
It's my favorite to play. It's got the stupidest, silly things.
Yeah.
I like the concept of having the ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What other? Oh yeah. Well, speaking of video games, let's talk about actually good video games. Oh yeah, I've been playing because EA recently decided to port over all their Origin games exclusive to their Origin launcher. One of them was Crysis 2 and 3, because I think those were exclusive to Origin. They've been on discount they're discounted until July 6th or July 4th, sometime in July. But yeah, I've had the original Crysis on my Steam library for a while, so I just wanted to finish that before I jump into the other two better Crysis games. Crysis, I don't know, it's aged poorly in some parts, but it's aged better in others. I'm gonna try and explain. Yeah, it's interesting. Probably the most interesting part is that like the main bad guys are the North Koreans, which you definitely couldn't get away with nowadays. I mean, I don't think you could.
I think you could, but you have like
What?
You couldn't use a living dictator, but you could still use North Korea, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, the last video game I can think of that had North Korea as the bad guy was probably Homefront 2.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah, I think they are kind of the default enemies right now. I don't know, like, because I'm trying to think of the last.
There are Germany right now, I think, or you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm probably like confusing them with China, because I think that there are some games with like where you fight Chinese soldiers that haven't been like I don't think that China has had like bad guys in video games since like the mid 2000s.
You can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. I remember. I think it was GTA 5 that had Chinese, like the Chinese as like a not an antagonist. You don't actually fight Chinese people in that, but they're like sort of the looming figure that I don't know. That's implied that they want to do bad stuff, I guess, or they
was it the government, or was it just? I thought it was just for drug dealers.
Well, there was like one of the big missions is you heist a Chinese super weapon, and like that's the one where Lester shows up. He's like, "Give that shit back, otherwise we're gonna go to war with them or something."
I remember now. God.
Yeah. I actually have been playing GTA 5 as well, getting back into that. I haven't started a new campaign though. I was just like dipping my toe back into the single player and the multiplayer, even shorter dipping that. It still has some really major flaws. I'm just sort of analyzing what they do really badly, just and thinking about like hoping that they fix that in GTA 6 if that ever comes out.
GTA 6 coming 2099.
Yeah, I still would like. I don't know if I pitched my idea like in the last episode, but it was like where like the whole there's like you have like 5 cities that you can explore, and it's all on one map. So it's like the whole United States, like Crew 2. Yeah, I have mentioned this before. But the idea would be that you like there's 2 protagonists instead of 3, and you start on like both of them start on in like opposite cities. So like and like it's a boy and a girl. So like you play as the guy in the Rockstar version of Seattle, which I guess would be like Seacoast City is the name I came up with, and the other side would be Vice City. And that
I
like
decided.
and the goal would be to like meet up with the other character at some point in the story.
Plot twist: you're there to kill him.
Yeah,
like the 2 characters are rivals.
Well, you know that's actually the main mechanic of The Last of Us Part 2. So, where you play as both Ellie and Abby.
Abby, yeah, because she wants to fucking kill Joel.
Yeah, but she does in not spoilers. She does in a flashback. So, like, it's actually.
I remember that. I watched it out of context. I couldn't watch a long play of it.
Yeah.
I watched the Joel scene first. Joel was my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
So I admit I kind of got salty watching how they did him dirty.
Yep. That's what
it's that he died in fear.
Mm-hmm. Back on Crisis, I want to like clarify on like what aged good and bad. Actually, not a lot of stuff has aged all that poorly. I think it's still a solid first-person shooter. I think that for the most part, it feels kind of bare bones, like a tech demo, because like the plot is really basic. It's basically just Koreans dig up alien artifacts, and then you fight Koreans to get to the alien artifacts, and then you fight the aliens. And I think it gets, from what I've heard, it gets fleshed out more in 2 and 3. But the environments are all really nice. I think one criticism I have is that the suit powers feel underpowered, because like you're encouraged to use like the strength and speed upgrades, but for most of the time, even in normal difficulty, you're using the armor thing. It's because like enemy bullets can like just eat up your health in like seconds. Even with the armor, it's like 5 seconds of sustained fire will kill you. And I think that's kind of cheap. You really, but at the same time, it rewards like being strategic rather than just jumping in guns blazing. Most of the time, you're encouraged to do stealth because you have like the cloaking device thing for your armor.
It's kind of like the Predator.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you do kind of feel like a predator, like the Predator, because you're in the jungle. I wouldn't be surprised if I found out that they took some heavy influence from Predator.
Alien suit, alien artifacts. Yeah.
The vehicle segments are kind of shitty. In fact, I'm at this point, the tank mission, and I think it's glitched because like I might have to restart the level because like all the enemy vehicles are recognized as friendlies, so I can't actually hit them with the cannon. So I think I gotta like restart it, and if that is like a permanent glitch, then I might have to just I don't know what. I'll have to look that up because I remember. You remember the game? What was it? The one with Pandora's Box, Legendary.
Yeah, I love that game. Ironically.
Yeah, but there's like like in the final level when you take the elevator to like the final boss, like there's a game breaking glitch to where like you fall through the elevator every time.
Oh, I didn't get that far.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's apparently it's not something that can be fixed. So at least on the PC version, it's like you can't like it's impossible to finish. So yeah,
You
it's
can't even use console commands to get, like you can't even console command to the upper room.
yeah, I don't think so. I think that you can load it from like the next level from the console, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, like that glitch, you can't complete it without cheating. And I'm hoping that it's not the same with Crisis, because I think those games were released around the same time. Yeah, it's
I don't think so.
Yeah, if
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, if the glitch can't be like if I can't fix the glitch in Crisis, then I guess I'll just die. No, I mean what I mean is I will probably just watch the movie on YouTube. I don't know.
You know what God, what game I really want to have a sequel on next gen consoles? Evolve.
Oh yeah.
I forgot how much I miss Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ultimate sci-fi. It's the ultimate 1v4 game.
Yeah.
I just think it's just I'm sorry. I look at the concept art of what could have been. There was going to be a playable hunter that would have been a giant alien pig woman, like a giant boar named Sue.
Ah. Whereas I was trying to like think of how to turn that into like a joke about feminists or something. I don't know.
Oh no.
Like, I don't know.
Basically, she never got into Evolve, so she ended up writing a blog about how The Last of Us 2. I will say this. I love her name, like Woo Pig Suey. Hey, Pig Suey. That's how you hog call.
Yeah, if that does get a sequel, I would like there to be like a co-op story mode.
I think that'd be awesome. They did have something kind of like a story mode where you would have like events like if the monster got to the aviary in the next area, the birds would be flying around attacking you.
Yeah, or even like a Left 4 Dead thing where you have like each level be like its own campaign.
Fuck yes. Also, it needs to have even more. You know how I would pitch the game? Here's how I would pitch Evolve 2. You get the footprint that was the logo of the original game and set it in an even bigger footprint.
Oh yeah, I can see them doing that.
Yeah. Also,
who developed Evolve? Remind me.
Turtle Rock Studios.
What else have they done? They sound familiar.
Let me look it up here. Turtle Rock Studios. Let's see. Games. They have it's loading. I'm on their website. Evolve? Is there one? Oh, they worked on fucking Left 4 Dead.
Oh.
The original.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this. Well, I heard that like there might be a leak for Left 4 Dead 3. But apparently, from what I heard, the reason that Left 4 Dead 3 was put on hold was that Turtle Rock wanted to make it in Unity, and Valve was like, you have to make it in Source. You have to pull the plug on this, otherwise we're not. You have to make it in Source, otherwise we're not making this. So basically, development had to start over, and then eventually it was just put on hold because it was too much work.
Hey, remember that big leak about Source? About the big source code leak?
Yeah. Was that the one for Team Fortress 2?
No, I think it was for like they leaked the entire Source engine or some shit like that.
Well, Sources.
No, okay. Counter-Strike.
Okay.
It was Counter-Strike shit.
Because I'm thinking of
they leaked it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of the Team Fortress thing with all the notes in it saying, this shit, this shit is fucked. Well, that's too bad. Like all the programmers just like throwing a tantrum over how like terrible the code was to work with.
God,
I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
Okay, because there was a video.
I would not like to work for Valve.
Yeah, Valve. I know that I think that Gigaboots, they described it as like a Silicon Valley tech thing that somehow managed to get super successful, which I think is true with all like Silicon Valley stuff. Is that you're sort of baffled as to how they managed to make millions, but it's only because through natural selection mostly.
Yeah, it's also kind of stepping on.
Yeah, I mean that's at least how I understand it. What other game? Oh yeah, Max Payne. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's because I know reworked my Twitch channel. I wanted to start streaming games, and if and when I do, because it's nothing official yet, but I would like to stream Max Payne as my first game, just because.
Which one? The original?
Yeah, just start with the original, then 2, then maybe 3. I don't know. Because it's been a long time since I played Max Payne. I mean, I remember trying to start it up with the Kung Fu mod. I might give that another shot because it was kind of complicated to work with, and I don't think I actually got it to work successfully. But yeah, I might give that another shot and just stream it to Twitch. I was initially thinking about doing Crisis as my first Twitch stream, but yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's a game that I wanted to like experience privately first. I think that's why I don't think I'm going to go forward with like being a Twitch streamer. I want my experiences to be private. I don't know. But Max Payne is a game that I've played before, and I think it'd be the one I'm most comfortable streaming to the public.
There's something I always liked about I've been getting more into
What?
I like watching art streams a lot. You know, it's just something about that. I used to like watching game streams, but I prefer to see an artist do their craft.
Yeah, I actually did an art stream like a month or two back on Picardo, and I don't know. It was during like one of those days where I'm just like, God, I hate drawing, you know. So it was just mainly just some doodles here and there, and all the while I'm just like, God, I would rather be doing anything else right now than this shit, you know. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another shot when I actually, feel like doing it.
Hey, did you know that the bad guy of Robocop was Red from that '70s show?
Yeah, Kurtwood Smith. I think that's what more people know him as. I mean, it depends on like what year you were born. Like if you grew up watching RoboCop, but I grew up watching that '70s show, so I know him more as Red.
The same.
Yeah.
When I finally made that connection, I because I'm just going like, oh no, because I have to have the same character.
Yeah.
He changed his name after his wife died.
Keep expecting him to say, I'm going to shove my foot up your shiny metal ass.
God, I would kill for a new RoboCop made at the same level of finesse as Dredd, the new Dredd.
Yeah, I think that it's probably due for another shot at a remake. I mean, the last time they tried to reboot RoboCop was 2009.
Yeah. No, you know who I would also do you know what I would do for a RoboCop remake?
What?
Not even make it a reboot. I would make it a sequel and you don't know it. Like there's a new RoboCop and you go, why isn't it the same name? And then the original RoboCop shows up and they're trying to decommission him. Like he's being uncyborged.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Kind of like what the new Top Gun is going to be.
Yeah. Just like, you think this sucks now, creep. Wait till you see my partner. And the old school RoboCop walks out.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the 2009 remake of RoboCop?
I didn't watch it. I saw the trailer and went, yeah, this isn't RoboCop.
Yeah, that was my reaction. I mean, nobody talks about it anymore. Or like, even people who like talk about RoboCop all the time, they just like, I think even they forgot that there was a remake of RoboCop.
I like, you know what bugs me about RoboCop so much? You know that he's supposed to have that thing come up on his mouth that never comes up? That kind of bugs me. Oh, sorry.
Speaking of failed attempts at reboots, I heard something about the Star Wars sequel trilogy that Disney might be like decanonizing it or making it non-canon.
Woo! How many millions of dollars went down the shitter? Let's see.
I mean, whether or not this is true, I don't think this is true. I think that I don't know.
I don't either. Well, let's entertain the thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as Kathleen Kennedy is, managing Star Wars, it's not going to happen. But I heard that she might be on her way out, so I don't know. I think that if there's somebody next in line for her. It might have been Bob Iger or somebody in Disney might be taking.
If that's the truth, that is $837 million down the shitter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Rise of Skywalker lost them a lot of money, from what I remember hearing.
I'm sorry. I don't ever want to wish tragedy upon a creator, but fucking glad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Disney deserves to lose a little money once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that I think it's kind of a futile gesture, though, to say, oh, this trilogy is non-canon. What would really make a better gesture is, okay, here's what we're going to do now. Here's how we're going to make Star Wars great again. If they have a good game plan, if they show that, then I think I would have more confidence in this decision. Right now, it just feels like,
an empty gesture.
Yeah, an empty gesture.
I agree completely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mandalorian. That was a good step in the right direction. So yeah, just make more stuff like that. Put some people who know what they're doing in charge, and then get back to me in like a year, and maybe I'll have some more goodwill towards the situation.
You know what I really want a Mandalorian style take on? I want the Mandalorian style level of care in a Mortal Kombat film. Mortal Kombat can be a really, really good background and world.
Would there be like a main character, or just be about all of them?
Hopefully, main character you could do. My pitch would be Reptile, because he's the last Zatar, and he's basically a fucking spy lizard dinosaur. If you had to pick one, they'd probably pick like Kung Lao or Liu Kang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see Johnny Cage also filling that role.
You know who would be the perfect Johnny Cage? I'd pick Chris Pratt.
You pick what?
Chris Pratt for Johnny Cage.
Just what? I can't hear you.
I would pick Johnny Cage or Chris Pratt for Johnny Cage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see him doing that. I was gonna talking about Star Wars. I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. Was like how George is just adamant about the special edition being the definitive version of Star Wars, and I don't know. Whenever I think about that, I'm always feel kind of conflicted, because on one hand, it's like the special edition is crap. It's terrible compared to the original, but at the same time, it's the artist's vision, I guess. I think I would feel better about his stance if the original edition was widely available to the public. If he was willing to distribute that alongside his perfect vision, then I'd feel better. But he's like, no, nobody's allowed to see the original theatrical version ever. I heard that he even was against the original version being in the Library of Congress, which is, that's a real
kind of shitty.
Yeah, and I think that also the fact that his editors saved that film. It's really it's not one person's vision with the film. It's the director, the writer, or not producer, but the writer, the editors, the actors. It's all their movie. I don't think that one person can make that decision of what makes the final product official, what makes it the definitive version. So yeah, fuck George Lucas.
I enjoy him.
I
He's a
think
fun old
obviously
man.
I'm being hyperbolic.
I know.
I think he's done a lot of good for the movie industry, or like for special effects.
Or
Lucasfilm
he
basically,
invented the space opera pretty much, or reinvented.
and Lucasfilm pretty much like established what a special effects house should be in a way. I don't know. I'm not a official historian on this stuff, but just to my knowledge, look at like because I don't think there was a special effects house like Lucasfilm before they started with Star Wars. So without George Lucas, there probably wouldn't be Avengers or Iron Man, all the big stuff we know today, all the special effects heavy stuff we know today probably wouldn't exist.
I also like to, if you trace it back more, you know what a really impressive movie special effects wise is?
What?
The 1954 Godzilla. Because I rewatched it and I realized there's maquettes, there's hand puppets, there's stop motion, there's literally every fucking kind of effect there is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so impressive when you can tell when they're testing new ideas that became staples in the genre, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I
Tony Hawk.
apologize.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony Hawk games is another thing I put on the list. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is coming out later sometime soon, I think. Yeah, I remember. Like, I'm not as excited as compared to everybody else because I never played 1 or 2. My first Tony Hawk game was Tony Hawk 3. So
I'm not huge on skating games, but I like Tony Hawk.
Yeah, it's a staple of anyone's PlayStation library. I think most people who play video games have played at least one Tony Hawk game. And if they haven't, then I'm completely wrong. But yeah, I always liked the Tony Hawk games. I like all it has this arcadey feel to it. And I know that Skate, the game, and also Session, Session especially seems to be, because that's not out yet, but it seems like it's going to be the most realistic skating game since Skate, which wasn't that realistic, but I don't know that much about skating games. I remember Rockstar, I think, had a skating game at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
I like arcadey games. Arcadey is a feel that I really love.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like putting on the cheat for moon physics and just like doing 180 kickflips in a row on a half pipe.
God.
Yeah, I miss when video games were fun.
I found out a lot of games that are lower price tend to be more fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
I bought some games on Steam. I really enjoyed this one game I got called Test Tube Times. It was like $15. I had more fun with that than I think I had with Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And I liked Fallout 4.
Yeah. You can actually get, going back to Crysis, I think you can get you can get Crysis 1, or Crysis 2 and 3, and also Titanfall for under $30 right now, all of them together.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And Titanfall 2, everybody loves Titanfall 2. It is like, I think one of the best first-person shooter story modes since Crysis 3. Actually, I remember recently I heard from SWC. They were saying how Crysis 3 has one of the best stories in a first-person shooter, and I was like, what? Because I hadn't heard about that before. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Definitely made me want to give that a shot. And Titanfall 2 is I remember playing halfway through that because I hadn't have it on Origin, but I bought it again on Steam. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, the multiplayer servers through Steam or whatever, I don't know. I just wanted it on Steam anyway, so I bought it again. Yeah, I was going to check that out soon. You want to talk about this other game that we were talking about before we started? The one that Notch made or was going to make.
Oh yeah, 0x10C.
Yeah, 0x10 to the C, and it's
The game that is unspeakable.
yeah, you can't really.
Would have been great.
Yeah, Notch apparently said that it's pronounced 10 to the C, which I'm like, okay, sure, why not? But he says you can pronounce it any way you want. It doesn't really matter though because it's been indefinitely postponed since like what 2000 and what? No, like 2000 and 2012, yeah. But or 2013. Sorry, I'm just reading off the Wikipedia article right now. But yeah, it was an interesting concept. I always thought because we were talking about like cryostasis, and I eventually brought this up was because that's the plot of this game is that after people start waking up from deep sleep caused by a bug in deep sleep cells that were released in 1988. People are put in stasis for 281 trillion 474 billion 976,710,656 years, which so like in hexadecimal, like 10 to the C is equivalent to 16 to the 12th, which equals that number of years. So
damn.
Yeah.
Imagine when you walk out, the fucking sleep stagger you would get. You know when you wake up after a long nap and you kind of stumble a bit? Fuck. You need to take a bump of coke to walk straight.
Yeah, but I always thought it had like an interesting concept, but apparently, according to Notch, like the game, or the alpha version, it just wasn't fun to play, and I can think of no other reason that good to just put a game on a shelf than the game not being fun. Because if the game's not fun,
there's no reason to play it.
That's one way. Yeah.
Like a game that isn't fun is like
I was trying to feed into the Reggie quote. Why bother?
Oh, if a game's not fun, why bother?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would.
No, it's funnier that you botched that.
God, I'm rambling, Stan. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm hoping that someone down the line eventually dusts this game off and gives it a shot. Apparently, it's still owned by Mojang. Another thing I can't really pronounce all that well. Or maybe Notch still owns the rights to it. I don't know. Mojang is listed as the developer. Marcus Persson. Notch is still listed as designer. But I'm hoping that somebody eventually gives us another shot because I think especially after listening to the soundtrack by C418, which amounts to 2 tracks, about 3 minutes in length. Even that was enough to get me really excited because it has this sort of ambient piano music that I guess he's known. I mean, I guess that's not surprising coming from the guy who did the soundtrack to Minecraft, but it's definitely more ominous, which I thought was really interesting.
I'd like a more horror-based game from Mojang.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be neat. Yeah, I think that they've sort of typecasted themselves as the Minecraft developer, though. So I would like to see them do something very, very different from Minecraft. Apparently, Notch just says that he wants to do very small indie games for the rest of his life. He's not going to try to do anything like Minecraft in the foreseeable future, which I'm fine with. I think that smaller projects get what's the phrase? People respect them that much. So I think that just doing small shit for the rest of your life is I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you're especially if you're an artist, it's like I don't think that gets enough appreciation.
Like do
what you love. That's what I always think. What else? Okay, speaking of artists or art-related stuff, I'm going to be on the Pocket Jacks Comicsgate TM Shared Universe showcase competition judging thing, whatever, tonight at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, or I think it's Eastern. Oh, I might have to. Yeah, it's Eastern Standard Time.
Hey,
I'm thinking of him and Mark do it. Yeah, Tim and Mark do their stuff on Central Standard Time. But yeah, 9 o'clock tonight, it's Eastern Standard Time. I will be showcasing my character, Cat Kid, who I don't know if I've ever given the backstory on this character or like the development over the years. But yeah, let me pull up the article real quick, because in order to submit this character, you have to submit it by doing this article on their wiki page, the Comicsgate TM wiki page, and I did mine a few weeks ago. So it's like the 17th entry on the list of by now 51 characters have been entered into this. I don't know if they're going in numerical order or just in order of. I think they are going down like the list numerically, but this is the article I wrote for this character, and yeah, it's a character that I've had since I first created this character. I think when I was like 12 years old. I was in middle school, but it's a design at least that I've held on to for a long time. And I think it's a cool design. I think that, but more importantly, I've spent the last couple of years alongside with Yesterday Kids, sort of going back and forth and refining this character into like a character that I'm more comfortable with as a better writer. I think that this has a shot, but by saying that, I know I'm just gonna get stomped in the judging. But whatever. I don't know. I'd probably feel better if I did get, if I did lose, just so I can do my own stuff. I don't know. Whatever, I'm rambling. Like I said.
Hey.
Sorry, go ahead.
I dropped out because I know that I don't have a shot. But I know that you at least have somewhat of a shot.
No, I think you would have had a shot. I think you would have had a shot. I've seen some of the entries there, and I think you would have had a shot.
But I do want to share just my idea for how I came up with Orca. Can I tell you how I came up with him?
Orca? Yeah, sure.
Oh hi, Near Ravine. I forget how to pronounce your name.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in the middle of a local diner in town, and I just burst out laughing at the mental image of an orca man in a 90s comic, who, when he bites your head, blood shoots out of his back like a fountain, like his blowhole. And I was laughing so hard at that mental image, like the waitress asked if I was all right, and I had to draw him. And I just love this idea. This is just the most 90s fucking character ever. Just the slowness,
Yeah.
And it just grew in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But my character's a shitpost. Cat Kid's actually got dimension. Like, I would read Cat Kid.
Yeah, and you probably.
And that's not just because you're right.
Yeah, I mean, but like, whether or not this character does win the grand prize or even moves on to the final like judging stuff, I probably will write this as a comic eventually, maybe by the end of the year. I don't know, because I've always gone, like I said, I've gone back and forth between Cat Kid and Yesterday Kids a lot, and like my reason for going to Cat Kid is I always think, I gotta do a shorter comic, at least like 6 to 12 issues before I attempt this huge epic with all this, all this branching narrative stuff with Yesterday Kids. But then when I work on Cat Kid, I'm always like, oh, but I really, really like the world of the Yesterday Kids. I really like spending time in this world, and I've already got like the story and all this history, written out for Yesterday Kids. I might as well go back to that. And it's just, I don't know. I think that right now, I'm convinced that doing 6 to 12 issues of Cat Kid is the more sensible option. And I think now I do have a better grasp on what the story is going to be. Because for a while, I think that for a while, Cat Kid wasn't even the main character of this comic, even though it was, even though it was titled after him, it was really more about his like partner's story. His partner in the SIR, the Supernatural Agency, and it was more about him finding his place in the universe through Cat Kid. So, but now it's more Cat Kid centric. So, I think I have a better grasp of what his arc is in this comic. So, I think that nails down one hang up that I had for a while.
Can I ask you a question? So, yeah, SIR is for super.
It's for
question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Mm-hmm. Asking something. So SIR is the Supernatural group, right?
Yeah, it stands for the Office of Supernatural Investigation and Response.
So what would we do for a creature that is genetically modified? Say someone made a tiger beetle, a literal tiger beetle.
Mm-hmm. Well, if like Animal Control wasn't able to handle it, they'd probably be next on the list.
I just like that mental images. They walk out there and just. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like something to do with psychic abilities or magic, then they're on first call.
Top line.
Yeah. And if they have like extensive knowledge of that creature, then yeah, they would probably be the first on call for that creature. If there's like if
it was like a half dragon, like they took a dragon's genetics and like mixed it with a walrus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it's like a magical or, can be affected by spirit energy, then yeah.
You know the word Wi-Fi doesn't mean anything?
I thought it stood for like wireless frequency.
Nope, Wi-Fi didn't mean anything. They just came up with it because they couldn't find they wanted a catchy name. The original name was IEEE 802.11.
Sure,
I think Wi-Fi is better.
Yeah, that was the alternate title for 10 to the C.
God. Oh. Don't give Notch ideas. Minecraft sequel. It's a complex mathematical equation you have to solve to get the name.
Mm-hmm. What else were we going to talk? I think that's the end of our list. Anything else you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the writing thing I've been working on. I've been actually getting into hard sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Hard sci-fi is really kind of cool.
Yeah. It's tough to do.
I'm not going full balls on the ship can't fly because we're 200 pounds overweight. But like stuff like where they have to consider the planets they live on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going for a Metal Gear aesthetic. That's how the kind of technology looks.
I mean, if you want to make a hard sci-fi, Metal Gear is probably the last thing I would suggest you take influence from. Other than the aesthetic.
Just looks-wise.
Right, looks-wise, that's fine.
Yeah, because like the tactical uniforms. I like the straps. I like the pouches. I fucking like Rob Liefeld in an unironic way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. But I'm talking like the hard sci-fi in terms of like there isn't anything like the Enterprise. They're all blocky, bulky, rectangular. They look like cargo ships with rockets attached.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the universe where aliens are rare, and there's usually no way to communicate between species.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I don't think I heard until like years ago, just a few years ago, was if you're doing hard science fiction, don't add wings to your spaceships because like they don't need wings.
Interesting. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, because you don't like steer through, like there's no air to steer through. It's all a vacuum. So you would have like thrusters. It would have like basically a submarine in space. That you'd have thrusters to like maneuver your ship rather than wings.
I think even in my universe, I'm going to keep that rule. When you need to do a cross-planet transport, they just fly into the atmosphere, go around the planet, drop down.
Mm-hmm. There was another video game that I wanted to talk about, The Division.
Yeah,
and I think that I would like there to be a reboot of that, or like a soft reboot sequel kind of thing, because I don't know. I would like to see like a single player co-op, just strictly single player co-op, because I think that they went the wrong direction with the massively multiplayer thing. I think it would be neat if there was like a strict story mode that. I mean, I'm sort of describing exactly what it is, but in my mind, it's more linear. You don't have as much of a focus on open world stuff. Just like just a straightforward campaign that I don't know. I think that it would be cooler if you stripped more stuff out of it. So I think that there is like a really neat story there. I think that I think in more recent years, I've sort of like enjoyed the idea of the setting of The Division. If it's just like of like sleeper agents like being called upon to defend the country or whatever.
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, there's just like ordinary people, or seemingly ordinary, I guess. I don't know. I haven't like, to tell the truth, I haven't really like looked into the backstory of The Division that hard, so this might be just me making shit up for my ideal sequel reboot of The Division. But yeah, it would be neat to have like a good game to come out of that concept.
Something I always want to do with sleeper agents is use them in a fantasy setting, or like not even fantasy, like historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like have like some fucking like Crusader age shit, and some guy figures it out. The brainwashing. So if you say the command word, whole bunch of people start rising up in arms.
Well, the first choice I had for that Comicsgate Pocket Jacks contest was a sleeper agent character.
Which one?
It was going to be the idea would be that it's like the main character is like this children's show host who like, unbeknownst to him, like years prior was like Manchurian candidated by the government, by the deep state, and that one night he's suddenly like activated, and he's sent to like assassinate a political figure, but like the political figure is like coming out of the limousine, and he has his daughter with him, and his daughter was on his show, so like he fights his programming and goes rogue.
That's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. I might save it for something else. So yeah, I don't think I actually had a title in mind for that either. So down the line, I'll probably come up with something clever, hopefully.
The idea that I was playing with for my sci-fi thing, one of the sort of it's played for a joke at first. The soldier I have, they call them cold men, the ones who do a lot of the cryo sleep training.
Mm-hmm.
When they sleep, they tend to tuck their legs up and pull their arms over their chest.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks comical when someone does this, so you realize they're so used to cryo sleep training, which is, they put you in a cold room and get you used to it. But as soon as they're supposed to go to sleep, they instinctively tuck in so they don't accidentally, get an arm locked out of the chamber.
Talking about cryosleep, that just makes me think about the Halo movie, Fall of Reach. No, not Fall of Reach. Forward Unto Dawn. I don't know if you know about this one. It was like
Which one?
Forward Unto Dawn. It was like the live action. I think it was a mini series that was put on. I don't know if it was actually like the Machinima channel or if it was like the official Halo channel or whatever, but it was like a 6-episode miniseries that was like a backstory of one of the characters in Halo 4, and it was like the Admiral character's like backstory, like during the Covenant invasion of the planet that he was like trained on as a Space Marine, and it's just like it's one of the worst like things I've seen in a while. But like watching it with the Gigaboots commentary was fun. It's just really cheaply made, really bad CGI, which is a lot of the stuff is to be expected from a web miniseries. But yeah, like the major plot point is that the main character guy, he's allergic to cryosleep, and so like, but he has to like, and like the dumbest plot thing is that, you know, they say like when the higher ups find out about it, they give them the choice whether to either keep at it or drop out. Like in real life, that's not, you don't get that choice.
They kick you out.
Yeah, they put you on medical leave. It's like, you don't, like, you're allergic to this really essential function for Space Marines, and like we can't have you here. We can't risk you're like getting sick on the field, you know. So
yeah,
it's like a really, really dumb, you know, plot thing. So yeah, it's not a good series, let me tell you. What else was I going to talk about? I think that's about it. Anything you wanted to add?
I'm a bit knocked out. I apologize.
Yeah, same here. I want to save my vocal cords for later tonight on the Pocket Jacks stream, so we will probably be ending right about now. Later tonight at 9 o'clock, you can see me pitch my character to them, and etc., etc. I got nothing to add. I'm not playing Last of Us Part 2 unless you give me money. And until then, I've been Tony.
I've been Zach.
And this has been the Monkey Bar.